watching my daughter take her first steps. Her first word was "dada," which was cool. You know,
Yeah.
so just things like that. Taking her to Disney World. In which growing up, I'm 40 pounds, and I remember one day, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, "Holy hell, what happened? How did I let myself get this far?" Don't lose focus. Don't lose focus. Stick to the plan. Create a plan. A lot of things that I do in life, what has helped me in my business and in my life, is creating 2-year plans.
All right, guys, this is Crazy Kev here, and I'm here with Yann Oliveira. Yann, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I can't complain. And you got a fight coming up in Combat FC, my man. Talk to us a little bit more about that matchup and how things are going with you.
Yes, sir. September 13th, I am fighting Chris Foster. Chris is a great opponent. Chris is somebody I should have fought many years ago, 10, 12, 14 years ago. It was a fight that a lot of people wanted to see. It never happened. Chris is coming off 2 good wins from Bellator. And, I am the Combat FC welterweight champion. And we're gonna meet up at middleweight, and we're gonna scrap it out for the middleweight title.
Yeah, yes, you are. And when it comes to that bout, I mean, I know in another interview you mentioned you could see yourself being in the UFC by the end of 2024. Do you think getting a win over Chris could potentially get you that call?
I feel like a win over Chris will get me that call. I feel like this is the one thing I'm missing right now. One good, solid win against a great opponent who's been around for a long time. Um, becoming two-division champ simultaneously in a league like Combat FC. I don't see why not. I don't see why I shouldn't get the call after this one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, my man. And I'm looking forward to that fight and potentially the call if you do end up getting that victory. And when it comes to your training partners, man, I mean, who's maybe some of the best training partners that make you the best version of you?
To be honest with you, my whole training camp so far has been strictly focused on um, just increasing cardio, in which I've always been known to have great cardio, just making my cardio even better, faster, getting stronger, and leaning out, right? So this fight camp has not been crazy focused on a whole lot of sparring and a whole lot of banging out with people. It has been just becoming the best athlete that I can possibly be, right? That's what we've been focusing on. But when it comes down to being in the gym, I've been working with Professor Tim Barshard, who was my professor, was my coach a long time ago, and we came together to work out for this fight. He's helping me get ready for this fight. My other training partner is Brandon Shagnon. Brandon used to fight back in the day. He fought at CES, MMA, and a few other organizations. Brandon's a bigger, stronger dude, so having a partner like Brandon to scrap with and train with has been good, has been really good. So, and then I got my brother Rob Leone, who's been helping me a lot too. So, yeah.
That's awesome. No, it definitely sounds like you got a good group of guys there. And on your Instagram, you also posted some pictures of you with Mauricio Ruffi as well too. I mean, what was it like to kind of train with him and talk to us a bit more about some memories with that?
Yeah, so my brother Mauricio Ruffi, he is just absolutely unbelievable. We are trying to get him here for my fight. We're trying to see if we can get him here for Combat FC. So hopefully he'll be in my corner. That's what we're working on. It's amazing. It's amazing training with Mauricio. Mauricio is, if anybody knows who Mauricio is and they watch him fight, um, he is special. Mauricio is something special. Um, I tell everybody, don't be shocked if by the end of 2025, Mauricio is the UFC lightweight champion of the world. Don't be shocked. He is unbelievable. Training with him is amazing. Having a brother like him is awesome. We talk pretty much every day. But I will be taking a trip to Brazil to spend a few days with him and to see him and hopefully I'll be bringing him back with me to America. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to have him here with me for my fight. So.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be really cool if you bring him to America. I mean, with that scissor sweep he had in his first fight, I mean, was he hitting that a lot in the gym? I mean, how'd that kind of come about? Did you see that?
Which one? Say it again.
In his very first fight in the UFC, he hit that awesome scissor sweep. I mean, did you see that?
Yeah, so that is something Mauricio had been working on in the gym. He was working on that, and
Yeah.
he's so good with timing, and he wanted to hit that in his fight. And though he hit it, he didn't get it the way he wanted to because it just so happened that Mulaki he was stepping back or he was churning as he went to hit it. It was just the timing, but he still got it. And
Yeah, he did.
Mauricio is one of those guys that he can do anything he wants. You know what I mean? He can pull anything off in a fight. He's so fast. He's so twitchy. You know, his timing is just perfect.
Yeah, no, he definitely is, man. He's definitely going to be a problem and potential champion, like you mentioned. And man, when it comes to your fights and stuff too, I mean, you took like a 10-year layoff and stuff because you had your daughter. I mean, what was it kind of like to kind of have that layoff and kind of watch like MMA and stuff when you had that time period off?
Yeah, so when I had my daughter, it was one of those things like I fought, and then after that, the next year, the following year, my daughter was born, and and I wanted to spend some time with my family. I want to be a dad, and I used to work like crazy at that point. I still do. I work even more now, but the difference is that I used to work for somebody else, and now I work for myself. So sometimes I can, I can break myself off for training and make my schedule. But I want to spend some time with my daughter. Want to watch her grow and be a dad, and so I took a huge layoff from fighting because of that. And I never stopped following, the MMA community. I watched every fight. I went to shows, and then the part that started to drive me crazy is that I'm watching these guys around here who suck go to the UFC. I'm watching these guys here who aren't that good, who are getting calls to the big organizations, and I'm like, if this guys can do it, I can do it. I'm like, I can come back and and do the same thing too. So the only thing that I have going against me, I feel, is the age thing. I'm 35 years old, and a lot of those guys they were getting in their 20s and or early 30s, and and this is the first time ever in my life that I'm actually dedicating as much as I have been. So focused on it, on making it. I mean, this is in a year I'm clocking in close to 4 fights. So, you know, um, it was a good timeout that I took. My body, I didn't take years of abuse during that time. I just worked. I wasn't taking abuse in training. So I feel like I'm in a good spot to still, compete against some elite guys.
Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely think you are. And when it comes to some of these guys that are getting the call, I mean, who do you think are some of these guys you think maybe aren't too deserving to be in the UFC?
Not anybody right now per se.
Okay.
I'm talking about that was back in the day,
Okay.
back in the day. But at this point, I can't think of anyone necessarily right now who shouldn't be in the UFC.
Fair
So
enough.
from around here.
Fair enough. That makes
Yeah.
sense. And when it comes to you, I mean, like you mentioned, you took time off to be a father. I mean, what's maybe some of your favorite memories being a father?
Watching my daughter take her first steps. Her first word was "dada," which was cool. You know,
Yeah.
so just things like that. Taking her to Disney World. In which growing up as a kid, I grew up in Brazil, and when you grow up in a third world country like Brazil, especially coming from the area of Brazil I came from, I come from a very small, poor farm town in Brazil. And if you tell somebody one day you're going to go to Disney World, they'll look at you and laugh and be like, "What are you, crazy?" Like, that's not going to happen. And then coming from that, and then being in America and being in a position where I got to take my daughter, not only did I get to go to Disney, but I got to take my daughter, to Disney as a dad. It's a great feeling. So that's some of my favorite memories right there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That's definitely a really cool memory. I'm glad you shared that. And another thing about you outside of fighting is you like to race some BMWs, man. I mean, talk to us a little bit more about how you kind of got into that.
Yeah, so I love fast cars. I've always been a huge Formula One fan, and back in the day, I don't know if you're gonna remember, but Ayrton Senna, Senna was the Brazilian F1 driver that died on a racetrack many years ago. This was in 1994. He raced for McLaren, and I became a huge McLaren fan, and I was a huge F1 fan. And I remember as a kid, I said, you know what, one day I'm gonna own a McLaren, and I did, I, it's funny because I had this goal, right? My goal for my 30th birthday was to buy a Maserati. I was like, I want to own a Maserati when I turn 30, you know? And because I always thought they were really cool cars, they were awesome cars, but it was something that wasn't too far fetched. And instead of buying a Maserati for my 30th birthday, I bought a McLaren. Something that's so much better than a Maserati. So I kind of overachieved on that dream that I had from when I was a kid. And but what got me into fast cars, that's really what it was. Ayrton Senna back in the day, watching Formula One, and I grew love for BMWs. And
Yeah.
and then it got to a point where I just kind of started just buying one after the other, and having fun.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's awesome, man. So when it comes to cars, I mean, how many do you got now?
so I got rid of a few cars, right? So this last few months, I sold my BMW M5 CS, in which was a limited production that BMW came out with. 400 of them were made. I was able to get one. It was amazing. I sold it. I was able to get one. I sold that one. I sold my BMW M5 competition. I didn't sell it. I actually traded that one for my wife's GMC Yukon Denali because we were having a baby, and so she needed a bigger vehicle. So we got her a nice Yukon Denali Ultimate, that we traded the M5 for. And then I sold my Nissan GTR. I did sell the GTR. I was not driving it at all. It was literally in my garage collecting dust all the time. And I had a friend of mine that wanted to buy it. He wanted the car at all costs. And I was like, screw it, you can have it. If you're gonna buy it, go ahead. I sold it to him. And then I sold the McLaren recently. So
Wow.
I still have my BMW M8 competition. That one is one of my favorite cars. It's a monster. It's tuned. It's extremely fast. It's a fun car. It's all-wheel drive. Um, but my wife and I have been talking lately about adding a couple things into the lineup. So we haven't told many people yet. But as a matter of fact, last night we went to the Combat Zone fights, and on our way home from Combat Zone, I mentioned to her this car, this really awesome Lamborghini that I found for sale, and she was like, and I run all these things by my wife. I don't, we talk about these things, and I told her, and I jokingly said, I was like, why don't we trade the DMA competition for the Lamborghini? And she looked at me, in which I was actually surprised. She was like, oh, if you want it, go ahead, let's do it. Yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, beautiful. Sounds great. So we'll see. We may have a lot Lamborghini coming into the lineup pretty soon. So
No, that'd be awesome, man. Win and then a Lamborghini. I mean, yeah, man, you're living the dream, man. I can't beat that. And when it comes to you as well, too, man. I mean, you at one point too, when you were laying off of fighting, you were weighing like 240 pounds. I mean, what was it like to kind of get the weight off and kind of get back into fighting shape?
it was it's crazy, right? Because I remember back in the day, I'd always like somewhat judge people for being so badly out of shape, because in my mind I was just like, why don't you just do something so you can, or eat healthy so you can be somewhat in shape? And during that time, I let myself go. I wasn't training. I was just eating whatever, just working all the time. And I got up to 240 pounds. And I remember one day, I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, holy hell, what happened? How did I let myself get this far? And 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 I tried a few times, right? I went on some training regimens. I went on, like, some different diets. I tried a few things, but I would always fall back um into the same thing, right? Into the routine. And then I'll start eating like crap again and not doing the things that I set out to do. And then I thought to myself, I was just like, you know what? I know the one thing that will force me to get back in shape, and I can't make any excuses. It'll be fighting. If I take a fight, if I say I'm gonna fight and I have to make weight for a fight, I'm gonna have to be disciplined because I'm not gonna go in there and embarrass myself and miss weight and embarrass my friends, my coaches, my family, and not make weight, and then go in there and get beat up in front of everybody on my fight back, my first fight back. So that was so that's when I made the decision. I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a fight and I'm gonna get in shape. And that's all it took. I took a fight. I accepted fighting somebody at 185. I was weighing 240, and I took it seriously. I just started working out. I trained essentially every day. I got on a good diet, and I went from 240 to 185. And as a matter of fact, that fight, I think I weighed in at 183, not even 185. I think I came in under 183. So
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's definitely pretty incredible, and that's definitely pretty cool that you were able to get the weight off and kind of get back into shape, man. And another thing I was curious about as well, too, man. I mean, when you were taking that break for fighting, I mean, obviously, I know you were doing it for family reasons, but I mean, what was it like to kind of tell like your gym, your teammates, and everybody that you're taking a leave for a little bit?
yeah, it was in a way, it was almost like I wouldn't say it was embarrassing, but it was kind of like me stepping out, just kind of saying, "Hey guys, y'all take it from here. Good luck to all of you." But I got to step out a little bit. I got to step out for a little while. And to be honest with you, I didn't expect to step away for that long. I thought I was, to be honest with you, my plan was to just take like a year off, maybe a year or so. But I got too comfortable. I fell into a routine in which is it's sometimes comfort is one of the biggest dream killers, and I got comfortable and I got too comfortable. I got comfortable for 8 years, that's a long time to be comfortable for. And you know, yeah, there was everybody kind of looked at me, and I remember for the longest time, and then a few times I would come in to train because there were some, some people that were fighting. They would call me or text me and say, "Hey, I got a fight coming up. I know you haven't been training. I know you haven't been fighting, but you're very skilled. You're very knowledgeable. Can you come in and work with us? Can you come in and just, get some sparring in, just help us out? You're a good body to work with." And I would come in, and a few times I come in and train with these guys, and these guys that were in there training essentially every day, and I'm getting the best of them, and I'm not training at all. I'm out of shape, not training at all, and I'm getting the best of them in the gym. And then, my old coaches are looking at me saying, "Dude, uh, what are you doing? Why don't you come back and fight? You need to come back and train. Look, you're coming in here. You're training against these guys. You're training with these guys who are training every day, who are putting in the time, who are getting ready to fight, and you're getting the best of them, and you haven't been training at all. Like, imagine what you could do if you actually come in and put the time, And then, it was one of those things, and I took it all into consideration, and it was just like, yeah, then let me come back. Let's give this another shot. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely glad you're giving it another shot, and I'm definitely glad you got that extra push. And when it comes to you training and stuff with your upcoming fight, I mean, what advantages do you think you have over your opponent at the moment?
I think my advantages is my cardio. I can really push the pace. It takes a while for me to get tired. I have this second wind that I get even when I start to feel a little. If I start to feel a little tired, something always snaps back, and like I get this burst of energy again, and then it just lasts me for the fight. I think my cardio is going to be an advantage. I think my power is going to be an advantage. I'm very naturally strong. I think I have incredible kicking power. I can kick hard. I can punch hard. I think that's going to be an advantage. And I think my ground game. I think my ground game is going to be an advantage too. I have very slick jujitsu. I know one thing. Chris is he's a very physical guy. He likes to push the pace too. Um, he's aggressive, but he throws a lot of jabs, a lot of snapping jabs. But I think I'm gonna be a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. Um, you know, no disrespect to Chris at all. And one thing that everybody knows about me as a person, I don't disrespect my opponents ever. It's just not who I am. I've been a huge fan of Chris for a long time. I was a fan of his before watching him fight. I've always wanted to fight him because I've always thought he was so good. I mean, he took Calvin Kattar to decision. You know, so no disrespect to Chris. I just think right now is my time. I think I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing to command, perform, and be the better fighter. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%, man. And like you mentioned, if you do get that win, you think this could be something that could give you that call to the UFC. I mean, would you take an opportunity on like short notice if you got the call on like short notice for the UFC?
Listen, let me tell you something. I will fly to Vegas that night after I fight for Combat FC so I can fight at UFC Sphere the very next night, September 14th. All right.
There you go.
I will absolutely fight anybody that if somebody was to pull out, if somebody was to get hurt, if something was to happen, and they wanted me to step in on short notice, I will be ready. I will fight the very next night.
That's
So
right.
that's how ready I am to go. It's now or never. It's I just we just got to make it happen, and it's gotta be now. I mean, a win over Chris Foster puts me at 7-0, and double champ. What else do they want to see? What else do I got to do? What
Yeah,
else? So
yeah, no, I agree.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree, man. I definitely think that would be awesome if you get the call, and I'm sure they definitely like that as well too, knowing that you'll always be ready for an upcoming fight if they offer you one, man. And one thing about me is I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I've been teaching for 6 years now, and I've been training for 19 years. So I love martial arts and love what I do. And with all the guys I got at my gym, what advice do you give to them to keep on coming into the gym and to get better and better every day?
My advice to the guys that are starting out, that want to train, that want to compete, is that don't lose focus. Don't lose focus. Stick to the plan. Create a plan. A lot of things that I do in life, what has helped me in my business and in my life, is creating 2-year plans. I create a plan, I write it down, I create steps. What are the steps that I need to take to get to the end goal, to get to make that dream come true, right? And I start checking them off as I go. And if you want to be a fighter and you want to fight against the best of the best, you know, you got to put the time in. And when I tell people put the time in, it's, you got the guys that they only work when it's the days to go to the gym, but the real work happens when nobody's watching, when nobody's looking, staying disciplined with, your eating habits. But not only that, the way you treat others, the way you conduct yourself as a person, I'm in my home gym. This is my strength and conditioning gym at my house that I put together. And the second you and I get off this interview, I'm going to work out. I don't have any of my coaches here with me. I don't have any of my friends here with me. I'm just going to work out, because that's what I need to do. So discipline is huge when it comes down to the sport. If you want to be a fighter, you want to be the best version of yourself, you want to be the best of the best, and you want to compete against the best, you have to stay disciplined. You have to put in the work, not only when your coaches are watching, but when nobody's watching. Behind closed doors, you got to put in the work. So
Yeah.
don't do what I did a few years ago when I stopped putting in the work. Don't advise. Make the best of your time while you're young, while you're still in your 20s or you're still in your teens. Right now is the time to put in the work. Put the work in now. Unfortunately, I'm doing a little bit late, but I am here to show other people that no matter the age, no matter what you got going on in your life, if it's something that you want to do bad enough, you'll find the time to do it, and you'll just figure it out. So That's my advice. Stay disciplined and put in the work when nobody's watching.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that was an awesome message. I'm definitely glad you said that. And I'm sorry I had to be this guy. I have to say it. But what did you think about the 2018 Super Bowl?
The 2018 Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Hold on, I gotta remember. Which was that? Was that the year that the was that Patriots versus Falcons?
No, 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 no. Come on.
Which one was 18?
That's the Eagles, Eagles and Patriots.
The Eagles and Patriots, correct.
I had to do it just because I was wearing the hat.
The Eagles, man, that was tough. I'm a huge Patriots fan.
Yeah.
Um, I love the Patriots.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was supposed to go to the game this last Thursday
Oh,
in
okay.
Foxborough, and I was not able to go. I had a family emergency I had to tend to. Had some stuff going on, so I was not able to go. But man, it's one of those games, right? That it was such a tight and a close game.
I
It
know.
was so tight and close. Either team could have won that game. You know,
Yeah.
I just think that the Patriots made a few too many mistakes during that game, and the Eagles did a phenomenal job at capitalizing on every single one of them. I mean, that trick play by the Eagles
Yeah.
for a touchdown. I mean, I listen. I can't hate, man. I can't hate. The Patriots were they were so dominant for so long. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you gotta give everyone their flowers. So unfortunately, we had to lose that year to the Eagles, and I was hoping to see Brady get another ring, but it's all right, man. I think I'm liking this new Patriots so far. They've only played two preseason games so far, and I think they're on track to building something good again. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think this NFL season is going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, I had to ask you about that. But yeah, that was definitely a crazy game, man. I mean, with like the missed field goals, then you had like the fumble at the end there. It was definitely a crazy game. And like I said, I'm definitely glad I got to mention that to you. And yeah, man, it's been awesome talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, what's maybe your final message out there for the fans watching this video?
My final message is: listen, let's go pack the house. This fight for me means absolutely everything. This is my do or die. This is the fight where I'm either going to the UFC next, or I will start to consider being done. So my message to everybody is: let's go make some noise. Let's pack the house and show up so I can put on a show for you guys and show everyone that this old dog still got plenty of fight left. I'm gonna show you guys that I can still compete with the best of the best. And let's go to the UFC by the end of 2024. I pray to God that He gives me this opportunity to be in the UFC so I can represent all of you guys, represent my family, represent my fans, my friends, and represent all of New Hampshire, in which is where I live, and put New Hampshire on the map in the UFC. Let's make it happen.
That's right. And we're looking forward to it, my man. Thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck in your upcoming fight. And hopefully you get the call of the UFC if you get that big win, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. No worries at all. And we'll be in touch. Hopefully we can do another one in the future. And again, man, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.